Hey there, this is Kristen David with Upleveling Your Business, and I'm here with Brett Trembly, who's a serial entrepreneur. He has built up his own successful law firm business and now is helping other busy business owners get a virtual staff in place to help them regain their freedom. Brett, I'm so excited to have you with us today and to have you share some tips on onboarding a virtual assistant. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kristen, and it's obviously an honor because we've known you for so long and worked with you. So again, Brett Trembly, co-founder of Get Staffed Up, here with Kristen David from Upleveling Your Business. And Kristen is one of the, to me, world's best butt kickers and efficient and organized and pleasant all at the same time. And what we do at Get Staffed Up is we help other people delegate their way to freedom. We are very, very big on delegation, but we have a different twist. Instead of having someone in-house and really adding to the payroll and the overhead, and the entrepreneurial community is one of the most stressed communities, we have decided to look elsewhere, and we find virtual staff all over the world, which does have a price component, but not a trade-off for talent. We find the best talent all over the world with a system that we've developed over the years, and Kristen David from Upleveling Your Business had a lot to do with that. And so it's really nice to be collaborating.
Thank you. Well, I am excited for you to share some tips because onboarding is one of those difficult things. We all know that we need to spend the time. Time is our most precious asset. So let's jump in. Tell us, how can we make the best of it?
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about 7 tips on how to onboard your virtual assistant for ongoing success. Onboarding is one of the areas that is generally overlooked, and we have some other videos we've done, Kristen, you and I together, on how to hire and how to work with virtual assistants. But the part that really where things fall off in, and not just virtual, but in hiring, is what do you do on day 1, day 3, week 2, the second month? And it's important that you have a plan for that. And we are a talent finding and placement company. We are not the training and ongoing onboarding company. And it's really important that those two things are distinguished, and that you do find somebody exceptional like Kristen David to work with to help you if you're not experienced in those areas. And I know down below in the comments, we'll have a link to some resources from Kristen David on onboarding, as well as some comments. So please let us know if these videos are helpful for you, because virtual staff is such a big thing right now, or if we're wasting our time. We're not going to be offended either way. We just want to help. So without further ado, let me dive into what we've developed as our 7 tips for how to onboard your virtual assistant for ongoing success. The number one thing that we start with is give written instructions. So our other video talks about a scorecard and daily end of day reports. But there's a lot of project-based work that entrepreneurs, business owners give their virtual staff members, and it's very important to do those things in writing with some key components. And this is something that I have heard from Chris and David so many times: who will do what by when? And that has been ingrained into me, and it is so true. So who is pretty obvious in this point, but what is the outcome you're looking for, and by when? And the by when is the thing that, I mean, let's be honest, even I forget this part sometimes, but I need you to find 300 networking groups in the United States by February 20th, because we need to put together an email offering us as the speaker, for example. That's a big project, but you said what you need to find, which is networking groups, and maybe you even want to narrow that. Maybe it's only within your niche, or speaking opportunities, whatever it is, and by when. And then of course you're going to check in and see if that timeline will be met based on your daily check-ins. However, now there's clear parameters. I have in the past given, I need a blog written on X, Y, and Z, and a week later I'm saying, well, where is it? Well, I didn't give a specific by when. So please don't skip that part. It may seem obvious, but if you're like me, you do forget sometimes. So number 2 is listen carefully. when you're dealing with virtual staff team members for the first time, it's new and it's not the same as dealing with somebody who's next door, across the hall, on another floor in the same building, where in person you communicate, you have the in-person touch points. There's a little bit more of patience that's going to be needed early on when you're learning how to communicate with someone virtually, because even on a great video system there's a half-second lag, and sometimes there's talking over one another. And what a lot of times what can happen is you're squeezing in a phone call before you get to your next thing. So your team member who's virtual is wanting and needing more help, and you do all the talking and then you move on. Well, you need to listen carefully, and listening helps you determine how that person learns and digests information, because the feedback they give you will say, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted them to hear. And it goes back to, I said this, he or she heard that. Communication will always be the number one challenge in any business. So make sure you take the time to listen. You'll learn a lot more about the person, your virtual staff member, if you're listening carefully. And that takes us to number 3, which is be objective. So you've given clear instructions, you have listened carefully, and now you're giving some feedback, and you want to be careful how you do this. Look, this is just, we're dealing with human beings, so it's the same for domestic team members, in-house team members as virtual. Some people have really thick skin, other people don't. And especially when you are dealing with a new team member who's virtual, there's some nerves and there's some, am I going to do a good job? And you want to use terms like, we do things and we've developed, and I didn't give you good instructions, not you do this, you didn't do this, etc. So to try to be patient when you're giving that feedback, which can help if you implement number 4, which is make them a part of your team. So when you include your virtual staff member in your daily huddles, if you guys do, there's a new concept called daily huddles in the morning or team meetings, bring a camera, set up a TV. You can see my TV back here. It's not just to be turned off for reflection purposes. It's because we get our team members on the TV for our daily meetings. That will make them feel a part, and it will really help to build the trust and show that this is not just someone you're going to give projects to and you don't care about them. You want them to be a part of your team and a part of your culture. Number 5, and this one I'm not going to hold back, and that's okay because we're all different, but you need to take responsibility. And one of my favorite quotes is by Tony Robbins, and it is, there's no such thing as a bad team, only a bad leader. So if you have recruited a bunch of people and failed to train, failed to onboard, failed to, develop, then it's really easy, and it's human nature to say they're all terrible. Oh, millennials this, boomers that, young kids, and it's never your fault. And I think if you take a step back and you say, I need to train my team the way I want to help build my culture, and some people don't cut it, and yes, you fire them and you move on. But you need to say, oh, virtual, not say virtual doesn't work for me because I tried it once, and maybe you didn't give great feedback or take the time to onboard or work with somebody like Kristen from Up-Leveling Your Business to learn how to do this the right way. So, I just got to put that out there, and I'm not going to beat around the bush on that one. We all have growth, and learning to do to become the type of person that can deal with staff and lead a team. So that's a bigger lesson that I'm happy to discuss, but it's very important when you're dealing with virtual staff. So the 6th one is to be cognizant of cultural differences. And we all make this mistake, but I'll give you a specific example. We have found that in a specific country, and I don't like to paint a broad brush, and I don't want to, stereotype, but there are cultural differences that we need to be aware of. Not only religious holidays and things that are important, but in some parts of the world, the education system trains, because everyone's taking English, right? Everyone has English classes all over the world, and that's why we're able to find so many really good English speaking virtual team members that we're placing for business owners. But in some parts of the world, they're taught to be creative, And in other parts of the world, they're taught just do the checklist. They do exactly what you're told. Don't take any initiative, and you're going to make somebody very happy. And we've read that in books, and then we found out ourselves. So you have to be clear on when you're hiring. But do you want someone who's creative and who's going to think for themselves, or do you want a box checker? And both are very valuable, by the way. Just make sure you know which one you're dealing with, and it goes back to the hiring process, which we do have another video for. So that takes us to our 7th tip. And as we talked about, these are not only for virtual. You can use these all for in-house too. However, one thing we've really liked to develop and we've found helpful is to teach your virtual staff member to propose solutions. So if they're on the ground doing the tasks and need help, and then you say, well, try this, try this, try this, take a step back and ask them, how do you think we should handle this problem? And you'll be amazed at somebody across the world, working through a camera with you and all of the cool things that they can come up with. Not all of them work, but some of them are very good. And you may say, wait a minute, I would have never thought about that. That's great. We're going to implement that. And now you're building trust, and you're showing that you care and you'll listen to the person. And sometimes just by giving them something that they help implement, really builds bridges and goes a long way. So try to help have your virtual staff members, suggest the solutions to your problem. And again, those are the 7 tips. We want to keep this video, impactful and not running over time. So we've included some more things in the comments below, including the link for some resources. And Kristen, thank you so much for allowing us to spread our message and be a part of this.
No, this has been excellent. I've been taking notes because as many times as I've onboarded staff, you always hear little nuggets that are just those little reminders to make sure you give such an amazing experience. And absolutely agree with so many of the things you talked about. Thank you for joining us. This has been wonderful. I hope it's been time well spent for everyone watching. Please do give us your comments below. And yes, lots of resources and ways to contact us down below. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining us. I've loved it. And we're going to have to do some more of these. This has been wonderful.
Let's do it. Thank you, Kristen.
All right. Thanks. Bye.